Hi, my name is Bryan DeLauney, and we're going to talk a little bit about intervals and how they relate to theory. The first thing that we need to do is go over a little bit of terminology. The first thing we're going to understand is notes and how they apply in music. We first probably already know that you know how to play. And if you don't, you have some inkling of how to pick up and how to strike a string and make a note. We understand that, but what we're trying to do is gain knowledge. So if you know some of this, you can fast forward, go to another lesson, but just remember that if you just skip into like something crazy like harmonic minor and you have no idea about what a major scale is, you're really doing a disservice to yourself. So let's start off and talk about the notes. There are 12 notes. I used to ask people when they first come to play guitar or take guitar lessons from me, I'd say, how many notes are on this guitar? And they're trying to count, I got 24 frets and 6 strings, and they're trying to do math. It's 12 notes. That's all there is. Here's it. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. 12. And no matter where you go, it's going to be one of those 12. That's how Western music is made up. So take the time to understand there are only 12 notes. So if you take all these notes, and that sounds like a lot, then you only have 12, then you've made your idea smaller. Now in a major scale, or most Western scales, there's only 7 notes. So you've taken 5 of them out and thrown them away. So now you only have 7 notes. So this whole guitar just look at 7 notes. So what you need to do is try to simplify things in your head to get a better understanding and grasp. You're not going to look at a novel that's this thick like War and Peace and try to digest the whole thing at one time. You're going to take it one sentence at a time, one paragraph, one chapter, until you build upon it. And that's what we're doing here. So look, let's just go to the terminology. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's 7. Now those 7 are called naturals. Now if you look at a piano and you look at the white notes, those are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? Now you'll see that there's spacing on a piano that's got 3 black keys and then 2 black keys. 3 black keys and then 2 black keys. Those, if you cut the 3 and the 2 out, those are just repetitions of 5. Now those 5s are your accidentals. Those are A sharp, C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. So you have 7 naturals, 5 accidentals, 12 notes. Now let's go to intervals. An interval is just an easy way of saying the spaces in between the notes. Now if I go from here to here, there's an interval. Okay, here, 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 there's 2 intervals. Okay, so if I go from here to here, there's an interval. So first, let's look at one thing before we go any further. I messed up. I want to make sure that you understand what an enharmonic note is. This may confuse you in the future. This note, you see right here, is a G sharp. It's also an A flat. Now, if you're making a scale, you're going to use 7 notes. Okay, and you use 1 note from every letter of the alphabet. Of course, you don't have Z's and H's. So in the A, B, C, D, F, G, we know there's 7 of them. And when you make a scale, you're going to need to have 1 of each. You're not going to have an A and an A sharp in the same scale. You're going to have an A and a B flat. So you need to make it to when you're looking at something, you're playing here to here to here, you're going G, A, B flat. You're not going G, A sharp. So the reason you have an A sharp and a B flat is it gives you the ability to make it easier to understand. That way you're not looking at 2 of the same note. Now if you're looking on notation on the 5 lines, you don't want to have an A and an A sharp and then a G and an A flat, or A sharp, A flat, A. It's confusing. So what you do is you put them on different lines and it makes it easier to read. And that's the concept of that. Now let's go into our intervals. We have obviously 12 intervals if you've got 12 notes. I have a book that I wrote, and what I'm trying to do is actually go by the book so you can use this with the book that I wrote if you inquire about it. What we have is 12 notes. So the first note is called the tonic or the root. I play in G major all the time. My favorite one, E minor's out of it. I love G. So you'll see me do that a lot. Now we'll go to the root note. That's the first note of the scale, or where we're starting from. And that's the key, or that's the objective of the scale. So we have this root. It's where we're anchored from. Okay? And if we go major scale, you'll see we're skipping stuff. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you chromatically, which means one note at a time, in order, not skipping anything. Then I'll skip and you'll see what happened. Alright, we start here. I'm just going to go linearly until I get to G again, instead of going like this, and then get to the G. We're just going to end here. Okay? Root. Okay, then we have a minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, perfect fifth, augmented fifth, alright, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh, octave. That's a lot. That sounds like it's a ton. How can I remember this? Major notes can be minored. Perfect notes can be augmented. Okay? So what you have major notes that are minored in here, and you have perfect notes that are augmented. A perfect note can also be diminished. Okay? So we know that a perfect note can be diminished, or it can be augmented. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now let me play it with all the notes except for the ones when we play it through a major scale, and we'll skip and you'll see what's happening. Root, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, root, or octave. All the minors, all the augmented are skipped. Okay? Now, if I played this scale and when I got to the perfect fifth, which is a D, and I played it here instead, I have diminished the fifth. Okay? Now, it can also be called an augmented fourth. We just talked about that. But the fourth didn't get changed. The fifth did. Think about it. If you see this note, you can say that's an augmented fourth. Well, that would be so if it was played like this. But it wasn't. The fifth was changed, not the fourth. Okay? That's the difference. And you can see if I play this 2, this major 2, and I play this note instead, then I've got a minor 2. Instead of. Okay? So what we've done is we now know that there are 12 notes, 7 are natural, 5 are accidental, and there's enharmonic notes. So these are the accidentals that have been called either an A sharp, but if we put it in the scale and there's already an A, we need to call it a B flat. That way it's not confusing. Then we understood that there are names for these intervals. They are root, minor second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, perfect fifth, augmented fifth, major sixth, minor seventh, and a major seventh. Then the octave, of course. So we know that there's names for these, and in a major scale we don't use any augmented or minor notes. We use only the perfect and only the major, and that's what makes up the major scale. That sounds pretty good so far. So what's the point? It gives you the ability to see how a scale has been altered. All music is going to be made from this major scale. So what we need to do is, when we're looking at the major scale, we need to see how is it different from the major scale. What's been done when I'm looking at a minor scale? What's happening? So if I'm looking at a melodic minor scale, I can see it's played like this. The only difference in a melodic minor than a major scale is that the third has been moved half step down. So it's root, major second, minor third, and then all the rest is just like the major scale. So we can see, how does this relate to chords? How does this relate to what I'm playing? How does this relate to the notes that's going? It's a relationship. Music is a relationship between notes. The chords are a relationship between each other, between the scale that's played on top of them. Music isn't just someone getting down and having a great time and bending the strings and doing all this crap. There's a relationship. If you play something that sounds like crap against something, it sounds bad. Now, why does it sound bad? Because of relationship, okay? Because there is no relationship, or there's a conflict. And so this is what we're going to learn in our lesson series, is we're going to understand the difference between the relationships of dissonance, of consonance, and we're going to understand how to make chords and how to put scales on top of chords, and what's it mean? You know, why am I doing this? Why do I play this and it sounds good? Why do I play this and it sounds like crap? And there's a reason for that, and that's what we're intending to do. We want to sit there and look at something and say, I can play this. And it's that simple. You don't have to think, you don't have to make mistakes or look like a fool. You go on, you play on stage and you play something that sounds bad, everybody in the audience is going to go, that's terrible. And if they don't, you know, or you have your girlfriend or something like saying, yeah, that was really good, baby, that's fantastic. When inside she's thinking, man, this dude sucks. He needs to practice more. It's kind of embarrassing. You don't need to be in those positions. It's simple. Take a little bit of time to look at what you're playing. Look at the notes and understand them. Take your time. Think about it. Intervals, very important. We're going to go into another lesson, and it's going to explain the major scale. And these intervals are going to be very apparent in that. So look over your intervals, figure it out, memorize it. Very simple. Have a great day.